हम्म।
वो लेट चालू हुआ था तो आधे बच्चे फिर उसके बाद ज्वाइन ही नहीं किए।
ठीक है। हाँ, अभी मैं हूँ, कोई रहता है तो मैं आप उनको इन्फॉर्म कर दूंगी।
हाँ, ओके, थैंक यू। Good evening, Vinayak.
Good evening, ma'am.
Good evening. So, Vinayak, have you gone through the review of the essay that you wrote?
I guess no, I didn't receive any message. You replied.
I replied to your mail. I have sent you a review of the essay. Just open it up, not in the mail itself, download and open it up. You will find the comments at the sides, right?
Yeah, I got it.
So you can do that. You have written the independent task. It was rather short, right?
Okay.
Remember, your independent task should be a minimum of 300 words. Right? And yours was a little rather less than 300 words. In fact.
Okay.
Right? So you have to expand a little more. Each paragraph, your paragraphs were about 4 lines or so. Try to make them about 5 to 6 lines.
Okay.
Right? Again, you can go through the comments so you will understand where you have to improve.
Yeah.
And any try on the integrated task?
No, ma'am. Actually, I had exams, so no,
Okay.
I was.
Maybe you can try. You have exams over the weekend?
Actually, today my exam was there. It's weekly test.
Okay, weekly test. So you can try over the weekend. At least one of them.
Yes.
We'll wait just a couple of minutes for others to join in. Yes, good evening, Gar.
Good evening, ma'am.
Good evening. Are exams going on for you also?
No, ma'am, like I have a quarterly test on Sunday, so like
On
I've been
Sunday.
preparing for it.
Okay. So you will be taking the TOEFL mock exams next week.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, from the 10th, I believe.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So I'm like as scheduled, today would be our last lecture as such. But if anyone thinks that we need another session to solve your doubts, etc., then we can have another session on Tuesday.
Okay, ma'am.
Yeah, depends upon other students also.
Yes, ma'am.
But that also depends upon whether you are practicing. If you are practicing, then you will have doubts.
Yeah.
So make sure you do something at least.
Yes.
At least the integrated tasks, so that you know exactly the format that you need to write in.
Yes, ma'am.
So Vinayak, when you were writing the independent task, were you able to organize your ideas properly?
Yes, ma'am.
Were examples missing? I found examples were missing. You could have elaborated a little more with the help of examples.
I gave examples for my second and third paragraph.
No, even those examples were like rather generalized examples. You can actually elaborate with personal experiences.
But those were
Yeah.
for a personal experience only.
Yeah. So when you say personal experience, you have mentioned it. Now, since your essay, now remember your essay is becoming very small. Yeah.
Yeah.
You
Yes.
have to expand a little more. So if you expand the explanations and the examples a little more, then you will get to a minimum of 300 words. So
Okay.
your essay should ideally be around, say, 350 words.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and you've got your paragraphs, you've got your structure, but yeah, if I remember, going through your essay, I'll just see if I get it. Just okay, by the time others come in, maybe I can discuss yours. Right? So you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. So when you open your file, this is what you will see. I've given the comments over here. Now in your first paragraph, okay, now in one thing very important, your first paragraph should always contain the idea that the question is talking about, right? So here you've just said, while dealing with a problem in my life, I would prefer asking advice from an experienced person. But what are the other preferences? You would prefer this over what? That has to come in.
Okay.
Yeah.
Also, do I have to give the reasons there and there in the first paragraph?
No, reasons don't have to come into the first paragraph. You can just say for the following reasons, or for 3 reasons or 2 reasons, no matter how many points you are going to write in your essay.
Okay. Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
Now, here you have said this will help me quickly solve my problems with a perfect solution. That is fine. That much you can say. But the first sentence should be a more or less a paraphrasing of the question with something added to it. Second sentence will be your opinion or your preference. Right?
Okay.
So keep to that format. Now, first, you have said, firstly, an experienced person would provide me with a precise and unbiased solution. That is fine. Now, for example, I have a problem with gaining weight. I would consult a dietitian who will correctly advise me with what measures I have to take. Now, what here, first thing, like if I have a problem, when you have a hypothetical situation, you don't use will, you will use would.
Yeah, right.
Okay? Remember, those grammatical errors should not be there. Good evening, Varshini.
Good evening, ma'am.
Good evening. I hope you've gone through the review of your essays.
Yes, ma'am. I had a doubt about the second essay.
Okay, I'll come to you. I'm just going through Vinayak's essays, and maybe many of some of you will be facing a similar problems. So you can go through the problem that he has faced. So now if you see here, Vinayak, you have written 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 lines or 4.5 lines. Now, here you have given you said it's an example. Now, can you expand on this a little more? Right? And another thing, something which the internet wouldn't help with. How the internet wouldn't help with, that can be added over here. Right?
Yeah.
So that would help you to expand it to now here for an experienced person would provide me with a personalized and an unbiased solution.
Yeah.
For what? Solution to what type of problem? A problem which I am facing, which is unique to, or which is unique to me.
Yeah.
Right? So little things added to the statements that you have already made will help to make it stronger. Yeah.
Okay.
Now here, this part when you say I would consult a dietitian who would advise me with what measures I have to take while having my meals and provide me with a precise diet. This you can expand a little more. Yeah. So what I should do regarding my diet. Now, another thing, measures I have to take while having my meals. What do you really mean by that? When you
Like
go to
amount.
yeah, so you can be a little more specific in this, because this
Okay.
seems comes in as a very vague statement.
Okay.
Right? Don't leave vague statements, make them specific. Now, in the second point, you said, secondly, the person would simplify my problem. Now, here you're coming up with a second point. So, just the person would be the dietitian.
No, the experienced person.
Yeah, so an experienced person maybe would be a better or sub. Now, in this particular paragraph, you're talking about somebody senior to you. So you can mention straight away that somebody senior to me. You don't need to say experienced person in every sentence, in every paragraph, right? Somebody senior to me would simplify my problems. And then you have gone on with an example. Now you can expand this particular point a little more before coming to the example. Right?
Okay.
How they actually help. So when facing a problem with so you can even expand on the problem that you are talking about and how a person who has more experience or somebody senior to you would be of help in and you can also compare to other solutions. You can compare to the internet also over here. That can also be done. If you don't have anything else in mind, you can compare to the other options given to you to expand. Right?
Okay.
Then you said when it comes to taking time and thinking of a solution, I might, and then you go on to, I might actually come up with a solution at some point. Now here, example is not there. You could
Yeah.
explain this with the help of an example, right? So
Hmm.
now
Yeah.
if you see, you have 271 words. Your essay that you have written would be 271 words. Now adding, if you even add 2 more sentences to each of the paragraphs, it would be a little more than 300. Yeah. So
Yeah.
writing less than 300 words in the independent essay is not advisable. Okay, another thing. Finally, I conclude that. Now, when you say finally, it means you are either coming up with a final point or you are concluding. You don't have to use both, right? You can
Okay.
just say, I conclude that, or in conclusion, right?
Yeah.
That would be better. Now, one thing you have to remember, your writing should not be redundant. That is, there should not be too much of repetition, but at the same time, it should be concise and expanded well. So the development, remember when we talked about scoring, they were scoring you on the development of your topic. So the development should be strong, right? So I hope you
Right.
got what you have to do.
Yes, ma'am.
So you can take up either this topic or you can take up another new topic and write another essay keeping all these points in mind.
Okay.
Right?
I have to do it now.
No, not now. You can write over the weekend.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you. Okay, so Varshini, I hope you have been able to go through the points.
Yes, ma'am.
What did you find?
Ma'am, in the second passage, you marked, I wrote a sentence called they would surely be mature and would have handled it some way or the other. You
Just,
asked me to put that in the next part.
just a second.
Yeah.
Is it visible?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So, which one are you talking about?
Ma'am, the first yellow highlighted one.
This one.
Yeah.
Yeah, they should surely be mature and okay. So here, like, who is more mature?
The
First thing.
person. The person.
Yeah, the person. But then, okay, now here, okay, now here it was. This was your introductory paragraph,
Yeah, ma'am.
right? So would you have something like this in your introductory? Would you have a main point in your introductory paragraph?
No.
No, right? So that's why I said use from here. It will go into a next paragraph. Now again here, one thing you must remember is that you can restate the question to begin with, then go on to your opinion.
Okay, ma'am.
Right? Or if even maybe you can also think of a different way of putting the question and add some point to it, a generalized point to it. Right?
Yes,
Now they would surely now already somebody who has already gone through the situation. Here you end your first paragraph.
ma'am.
This
Okay.
will go into now here you have already also given an example. You wouldn't give an example in your introductory paragraph. So organizing your essay is very important, right? What goes into the introduction, what doesn't go into the introduction, you have to be very careful about that.
Yeah, ma'am.
Okay. So I think the rest of it you would have got.
Yeah, ma'am.
Okay. Now another thing here. Now here you are talking about the other side, right?
Yeah,
Which
ma'am.
which you don't agree to.
Yes.
Yeah. So you have to bring it up as a contrasting point.
Okay.
not as an additional point. When you say secondly, it becomes an additional point,
Yeah, ma'am.
right? So here you will bring up, since you are talking about a contrast to what your views are, you have to use a contrasting transition word.
All right, ma'am.
Okay. Like here you can say in the second paragraph, when you're getting a big coming up with a second point, either you could use secondly or furthermore. Okay,
Mhm.
work on your transitions to get a strong essay.
Yeah, ma'am.
Right? Okay, so now coming back to the integrated topic. Just a second. We were talking about using templates, right? So who of you understood exactly how to use templates? Anyone? Okay, now in the integrated writing task, remember there was a passage and a lecture, and our focus would be on the lecture, right? Okay, can you all have your videos on, please? I lose my focus when I don't see people around. Thank you, Vinayak. Thank you, Roshini. Yes, girl. Can you come on with your video?
No, ma'am, like my Wi-Fi is not working properly today. So
Wi-Fi is
like
not
if I
working.
turn it on my camera, I think I might get disconnected.
Okay. Okay, so in that case, you have to be excused. But whenever you think that your Wi-Fi is okay, please turn on your camera.
Yes, ma'am.
Right?
Yeah.
Okay, now we already have gone through the requirements of the integrated task, how it is called, what it is about. Now we have more or less talked about the template, but now we'll talk about the template in details. Yeah. Now, if you remember you can open up to the page in your books where we had the tabular form given to you.
Ma'am, what is the page number?
Just a moment, I'll just share it here. Just see, should be around page 69. 69 is in my book. If you have the new version, it could be a little different.
Okay, ma'am.
Yeah. So these were the points that we got from our previous task, which we did the day before, right? In the memo, Chevalier claims that he was wealthy while, so these are the points from the passage, that is from the critics. He claims he was wealthy while in Switzerland, but since Chevalier is known to have borrowed money there, he cannot have been very rich. Yeah. And the corresponding point from the lecture was Chevalier's wealth was in the form of property that had to be sold in order to generate cash. So he wasn't poor. He just had to borrow money for a few days while he waited for his property to be sold. Now you can go back to the notes that you took down. Yeah. So if you look at the notes that you took down, you will be able to relate to it better. So if you see, only the important points have been taken down, right? Now coming to the second point, the memo claims to recount accurate conversations between Chevalier and the famous writer. This cannot be true since it was written so many years after the conversation. Now the corresponding point that the lecturer raises is that each night after the conversation took place, the Chevalier wrote down everything he could remember from them. Witness confirmed. Now this was important. Witness confirmed that when writing his memoir years later, Chevalier regularly consulted these notes. Yeah. And then there was a third point about the escape from the Venetian prison by making a hole in the ceiling. And this is unlikely since the Chevalier could have asked politically well-connected friends to offer his jailers a bribe to free him. And the point raised by the lecturer was the prisoners who had more powerful political connections were never able to bribe their way to freedom. So Chevalier probably couldn't either. Also, the prison records indicate that soon after the Chevalier's escape, ceiling of his room had to be repaired. So these were the important points from both the passage and the lecture. Now, when you are writing your essay, what do you have to do? You have to combine the two together, right? So now the problem is, how do you actually combine the two together? So can somebody tell me? Nobody has tried so far, so probably not. So we'll think of a template which will help us to combine them together, right? So now the question was, how does the lecture respond to the points raised in the passage, right? So our focus is on the lecture. So we need a short introduction and then 3 body paragraphs related to the 3 points that are raised. Where did Vinayak go? Yes, Varshini, are you having a problem with the network or something?
No, ma'am, 1 second.
Okay, please. Thank you. I get bored otherwise if I don't see you. Okay, so now when we are saying that we need to begin with the content that both the lecture and the passage are talking about. Yeah. So now the thing is, how do you begin? So the main topic of both the reading passage and the lecture is, or both the reading passage and the lecture discuss the say credibility of the memoirs of Chevalier. You can say that, right? And then you go on with, so that you actually do what? You begin with a topic sentence that summarizes the main point of the lecture, right? So so according to the lecture or based on the lecture, then you explain whether the passage has the same point or not. Or you can do one thing to simplify it. The lecture and the passage talk about whatever the main topic is. Yeah, you can begin that. Next, in the first paragraph, the next sentence would be whether the lecture casts doubts or what else is the lecture doing. Whether the lecture agrees or does not agree. Yeah, so you can say the lecture casts doubts. Now, yesterday day before we went through some alternate words which can be used for casting doubt. Yeah, refutes, does not agree. So whatever comes to your mind. Now, these are the words that you have to remember. So you can write down those words in one place and use them for the different paragraphs. Okay. So the second sentence will be, first sentence is what? What is the main point in both the lecture and passage? The second sentence will be the lecturer casts doubts on the claims made in the article. Yeah. or the claims made by the critics, you can say in this case. And you can continue with she thinks that. So she thinks that the critics are wrong in their analysis of Chevalier's memos. Yeah. Or you can say the lecturer disagrees with the idea, or the author challenges this point. Yeah. Now the either you can say the author brings up this point and the lecturer challenges the point, which would be a better way of saying it. And in the case of an agreement, the author of the passage agrees or the lecturer agrees to the points raised in the passage. Right? Now this will be your introduction. Introduction will be basically 2 sentences. First sentence, what would the first sentence be? Anyone tell me? Yes, Varshini, what would the first sentence of the introduction be?
Ma'am, probably the passage talks about.
Not just the passage talks about, the lecture and the passage deal with this particular topic.
Yeah, ma'am.
So that will be the introduction for any integrated writing task, right? So you can mug it up. So this is how I am going to begin, no matter what the question is. Okay. So you don't get stuck with, or you're not, you don't lose your focus as to where, what to do, how to begin. Okay. And the second sentence will be that the lecturer casts doubts or the lecturer agrees to. Right? Lecturer casts doubts on the claims made in the passage, or in the particular task that we did. So the lecturer casts doubts on the claims claims made by the critics regarding the credibility of, or regarding the accurateness of Chevalier's memos. Yeah, that is all you have in your introduction. Next come the body paragraphs. Body paragraph 1, right, will be related to point number 1. So how would you begin a body paragraph 1? You can say the first of all, the author, or first of all, the lecturer points out that. Now we won't use the author, we will say the lecturer points out that. Yeah. Or if you think that you are finding it difficult to bring the lecturer in first, you can begin with the author. So you can say, first of all, the author, or in the particular example, first of all, the critics believe that, right? And then you put down the point in very concise manner. You don't have to put in all the details. And this point is challenged by the lecturer. Yeah, so you can say challenged. Then you can go into details about how she is challenging them. What are the points that she has raised? She counters the point by saying that Chevalier was not poor, but he had to sell some of his property to get cash, and that took some time, so he had to borrow. Right? So that way you can frame your sentence. Or you can say, on the other hand, the author asserts that. So these are different ways of putting down the same point. So on the other hand, or furthermore, she agrees, that is, she argues. Yeah. And then you continue with the supporting details. So you can use either of these structures. And then you can conclude the body paragraph with, clearly the lecturer and the author maintain different views on this, or the lecturer and author are essentially in agreement if there is an agreement. Right? So this is how, so you begin with the point raised in the passage, how the lecturer refutes it, challenges it, or you can say asserts or claims, or she argues against the view of the critics. Yeah, you have to frame your sentence, keeping in mind that, okay, this is my structure. First sentence of the body paragraph, a point raised by the passage. Second sentence of the body paragraph, how the lecturer agrees or disagrees, how the challenges it, how she challenges it, what is the point raised by the lecturer, right? Now, similarly, you deal with the third paragraph, that is the second point. So you can begin with secondly, or you can go on to lecturer rebuts this. The article notes that, or the critics note that, yeah, or the lecturer is in suggestion, depending upon what your topic is or what the content of the passage and the lecture are. So the lecturer argues, contends, asserts, any of these words you can use, right? Or the lecturer rebuts this argument. So if you find it easy to begin with the passage, then the critics argue that and the lecturer rebuts this argument. Yeah, that is that you can pair it up that way. So this is how you would begin the sentences in your second body paragraph. Now, if you have a third point, then you can come to the third point also. In this case, we have a third point. So you can say finally, or lastly, or thirdly. Even if you are not very sure whether it's the final point, you can go on to third. But of course, when you have taken down notes, you will be sure. So the thirdly, the author states that, or the critics state that, and the lecturer on the other hand posits that, or the lecturer puts on the contrary, the author, so here instead of author, since you have already said what the author has said, on the contrary, the lecturer says that, yeah, or the lecturer contends or argues that. So this is how you would combine the points from the lecture and the passage. But your focus should be on the lecture. So 60% of the paragraph should be devoted to the content from the lecture. Right? Got it? Now, when you come to a conclusion, your conclusion need not be very big. You could just say, in conclusion, the lecture and the reading are both about this, or the professor effectively challenges the claims made in the lecture. This would be a better way of saying, in conclusion, the professor effectively challenges. Now here your opinion is not required, so don't go into too much of supporting the lecturer or supporting the author of the passage. It's just a little, one sentence in conclusion, not more than that, right? Or you can say, in conclusion, the lecturer or author to be in disagreement about or agreement about, as the case could be. And just the topic about, so just the topic of the lecture and the passage very concisely in about half a line. That's it that you are required to. Yeah. So this is what your conclusion will be. One single sentence. Got it? Any doubt on this? Varshini? Seems to be a little confused.
No.
Okay. So you now why I harp continuously on the template is that when you use a template, now what you are going to do is, first thing, write down a template for yourself, which you are going to use in every single integrated essay. Right? So how to begin the first paragraph, how to begin the first sentence of the second paragraph, how to use now transition words and variation of sentence structure and usage of words is very important. So you have to write down a list of transition words. The first paragraph I use this transition word, second this, third this. Yeah. Now, when you're talking about the lecturer challenging the points raised by the passage, what are the different words I can use in each paragraph? Now, one word you have already used in the introduction, refutes, maybe. Second paragraph, you can use challenges. Third paragraph, the lecturer argues that or contends that, yeah. Or you can also say posits that this is the opinion of the lecturer. So these are the three things that you have to do. A structure, how to begin every sentence. So what you are going to do when you have the beginning of the sentence, you are just going to fill in the blanks with the content from the from your notes, right? Vinayak, got it? Once you get your structure, your
Yes, ma'am.
organization of the essay becomes easier. Otherwise, you will begin with something. And every paragraph, you try to keep to the same structure. It's not that first paragraph you begin with the lecturer and the second paragraph you begin with the passage. If you're beginning with the lecturer, stick to beginning with the lecturer. If you're beginning with the passage, stick to beginning with the passage. Right? So this is the template that you are going to use. This is there in, according to mine, okay, this page 120, right? 120, 121. So go through this and choose the sentence, choose your beginning of each sentence. Write down a template for yourself, and whenever you are writing an essay, the integrated task, use the same template. So you will get used to using a template. Maybe you can bring out a little variation in the templates while you are getting used to writing. So the first essay, maybe you stick to the template. Second essay, you stick to the template. Third essay, something else may come to your mind because you've now got used to writing in a template. Right? So there you can bring about a little more variation. But to begin with, stick to a template. Okay? So now, first thing you do is on your paper or in your notebooks, write down how you are going to begin your first paragraph. Just write it down. Just keep in mind, say these points. Yeah. So the lecturer and the critics, and just think about what you are going to write. Yeah. So go through the templates that has been given to you and think of how to begin your essay.
Ma'am, what is a topic sentence?
What was the lecture about? What was the main idea in the lecture and the passage? What were
Ma'am,
they
so
discussing?
if I'm going to talk about the topic sentence in the first paragraph, so do I start with the topic sentence or first do I start the lecture cast out?
No, that will be the second sentence.
Okay.
First is the topic sentence. That is what are you dealing with?
Okay.
What is the main idea of the passage and the lecture?
Okay.
Right? So suppose we take up the passage that we did last time, the Memoirs of Chevalier. What would the topic sentence be? So if you are in doubt, you can go to the introduction of the passage and get to the main point. What was the claim? The lecturer, what are the lecturer and the passage or the critics discussing? They're discussing the accuracy of the memoirs of Chevalier, whether they were distorted or they were exactly written as it was. Right? That's
Mom, so can I write?
Hmm.
The passage talks about the different claims made by Chevalier, something like that.
Did Chevalier make the claims?
Not the
No,
Chevalier.
right? So you have to have accuracy in your writing.
Yeah.
So now as I said, in the first sentence, you have to bring in both the lecturer and the passage. So the lecturer and the passage are discussing or discussed. Remember, we talked about writing in the past tense.
Mhm.
Yeah? Both the lecturer and the passage discussed the accuracy of the claims of the accuracy of Chevalier's memoirs, as doubts were raised by the critics on the say whether the memoirs were exact or distorted. Right? Just that much. You don't need more than that. Now coming to the second sentence, that is very important. Whether the lecturer agrees or disagrees. So here you can say the lecturer refutes the claims of the critics and puts forth arguments to support the accuracy of the memoirs. So that's what the lecturer is doing. Yeah. So then you can go on to the body paragraph. So lecturer casts doubts. Now, okay, another thing. As a rule, we would use write in past tense, but if you find it very difficult to write in the past tense, you can write in the present tense, but then your entire essay should be in the present tense. It shouldn't be that half in the past and half in the present. Right? So you can say cast doubts or something of that sort, but then you have to make sure everything is in the present tense. So how do you begin? How would you begin your first body paragraph that is related to the point? Yes, Vinaya? Yes, okay, sorry. Varshini? Yes, you may go on.
The passage talks about certain points, and the lecturer or the professor
Say we
agrees
take
to or disagrees.
the essay that you have. So that will become a little easier.
Yeah, ma'am.
So taking the first point.
First of all, the passage claims that Chevalier has lived in Switzerland. He was a wealthy, rich. He was wealthy and had a great deal of money since he was partying and gambling. But the lecturer points out.
No, but is that the main point raised? Now come to the main point.
About the Swiss merchant.
No. It is about he was rich, but still he borrowed money.
Yeah, ma'am.
So remember, you have to keep the point from the passage very concise.
Okay.
Yeah. So don't go into the details which are not necessary. Just keep to the point. And when you come to the points raised in the lecture, then you go into details.
Okay.
Right? So now to begin with, how would you do? First of all, you can say.
Ma'am, so should it be like this? First of all, the passage talks about how Chevalier is. Ma'am, can I start it this way? In the first At first, Shabili is portrayed as a rich person, but
That
had
would,
to borrow money
yeah, but that would be a little general. Shivela is portrayed by whom? By the lecturer, by the passage.
by the passage.
Yeah. So the thing is that the critics don't portray him as a rich person, but they are raising doubts that whether was he rich or was he not rich,
Okay.
right? So that doubt has to be brought in,
Okay.
right? So just keep to, that's why I say again and again, keep to the main point. Because when you are writing, you can't exceed, say, about so here it is 225 words. So from 225 you can go up to 250 or maximum 300. Now if you have to keep within 250 words, then it will be a little difficult if you're going to expand on what the lecturer, what the passage is talking about, right? So to keep it concise, your main focus is on the lecture. So only about 40% of your paragraph should be on the passage. So you can begin with, first of all, the author, or in this particular case, it is a little more specific. You can talk about the critics. So your beginning of your paragraph would be, first of all, the author or the critics. Yeah. And then you go on to the concise format of the point. So this could be just in one sentence. There is 2 lines or so. And then you go on to the lecturer, however, challenges the points raised by the critics. And then she says that. Yeah, that will help you to formulate your sentence a little bit. Okay. So now just write down the beginning of each sentence of your body paragraph. Yes, Vinayak, have you written the template that you are going to use?
No, actually, I was just listening.
Okay, can you write it down?
Yeah.
So when I was saying write it down, it was not only for version, it was for everybody. Gar?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so have you written down the template that you are going to use?
No, ma'am, I'm thinking like how to like write it still.
Okay, so how would you begin the first paragraph?
Like,
You
ma'am, I
have
would,
a few options over here.
yes, ma'am. So I would like start like the lecturer states that about the, yo, first I think I would start with like the passage talks about the Chevalier, the
Your first
Chinese.
sentence should be the main point of the lecture and the passage. Yeah, so you can say according to the lecture, or the lecture and the passage talk about the accuracy of Chevaliers' memos in this particular example. So
Okay,
the
ma'am.
lecture and the passage, what they do, and the main point, or the main point raised by the lecturer and the passage are this. Yeah.
Okay.
So
Yes,
what is the
ma'am.
main idea? You have to get to the main idea. What was it? What are they talking about in
Like
one particular sentence?
like if he was rich or not, like
Yeah.
did he,
So whether he, no, rich or not is a first point. What is the introductory sentence?
like was he rich or like no,
You're not getting it.
no.
How would you begin your essay?
I'm like they talk about his
So what is the
mem-
main point of the lecture and the passage? The accuracy of,
the accuracy of the memory.
yeah. In the memo, Chevalier claims that this, so that is whether the memos are accurate or not.
Yes.
Then we come to the first paragraph. Okay, so Vinayak, how would you begin the first body paragraph? That is when you are dealing with the first point.
I would write
Pick up a specific template.
the first of all the author.
So now, when you're talking about this particular essay on Chevalier's memoir, would you say author, or would you
Lecturer.
or would you say the critics?
Yeah, critics.
Yeah, critics. Instead of author, you will come to critics over here. So first of all, the critics state that. Then you go on to summarizing the first point, right?
Yeah.
And then you go on to this point is challenged by, or on the other hand, the lecturer claims that.
First, you have to talk about the author or the lecture.
It depends upon which is easier for you. If you talk
Okay.
about the author first, that is the point from the passage first, it becomes a little easier for you. But you, on the flip side, you have to remember that you don't go into too much of details from the passage. Point from the passage has to be very concise. Point from the lecture has to be expanded. Okay. So, first of all, the critics say that Chevalier wouldn't have been rich because he had to borrow money while living in Switzerland.
Yeah.
That's it. Yeah.
Yes.
Then you come to the point raised by the challenge. So this point is challenged by the lecturer.
Yeah, he says that.
Yeah, she or he says that. So that will be the beginning of your point when you are coming to the lecturer. So that's why I said write down just the initial words of each sentence. Right? So the first of all, the author says that, yeah, or the author claims that. Secondly, now this will be the same in every single essay that you write. So you can use the same thing with a little bit of variation, of course, according to the content that you have. And then this fallen challenge by the lecturer who says that. Yeah. And then you go into the details. Yes, Rashmi.
Can there be passages where integrated writing tasks where the passage talks about, so let's just take a biology topic.
Mm-hmm.
If there's a passage about whales, for example, and the speaking part talks about how the whales are efficient or something like that. Can there be passages where the talking part supports the claim of the passage?
It can be. It can be. That's why we say that furthermore she argues. The lecturer argues or the lecturer supports the views. So it could be in agreement with each other or refuting. Depends upon what passage you get. Yeah, depends upon how the the lecturer responds to the passage. That is the question. So the lecturer refutes it or supports it. Depending upon what question you have, you can say challenges or you can say supports the point. Right? So we in the particular exercise that we did, it was not supportive but challenging. Okay. Now these so the two main sentence introductions for your first body paragraph written down. Now when you come to the second body paragraph, remember you will not use exactly the same words, though your purpose is the same. Yeah, you have to bring about variation in your words that you use. So secondly, the lecturer argues that, or secondly, the critics argue that, and the lecturer refutes the claim, or the lecturer rebuts this argument. This is a good way. So you can just write it down. The lecturer rebuts this argument. The author contends, you can say, and the lecturer rebuts. Yeah, so you get two different, so here you get the author puts forward the point or the author argues that and the lecturer challenges. Secondly, the author contends that and the lecturer rebuts this argument. Right? So this you can mug up that this is how I am going to write the two sentences. Now coming to the third point, you have your third body paragraph. Now you have to bring about a little more variation. What will you do? You can say the author states that we haven't used the word states earlier, so we can use the word states over here. Yeah, and on the contrary, we can say the on the contrary, the lecturer says that, or the lecturer on the other hand posits that, or says that, whatever is easier for you. Yeah. So this is what your third body paragraph would be. And then you will fill in the blank with the content from your passage and lecture. Okay. And then coming to the conclusion. In conclusion, the lecturer and author appear to be in disagreement about, right, or agreement about it, whatever the case may be. And the professor effectively challenges the claims made in the article. That's your conclusion. Right? Written down. Okay. Now you read the template that you have written down. And you after reading the template, now you know that you have to just fill in the blanks, right? Beginning of each sentence, transition words, variation of the words used is extremely important. Got it? Okay.
Ma'am, can you repeat like for the second paragraph, like how to start? I got disconnected at that time.
You were disconnected. Okay, the second paragraph you can say, so the second point you are talking about.
Yes.
Okay, the second point you can say, secondly, the author contends that, so you can use this. Yeah,
Okay.
the author contends that, then you put forward the point that the author or the critics in this case have raised. And the lecturer rebuts this argument. This is what you use. The lecturer rebuts this argument, and then you say what the lecturer says about that particular point.
Okay, ma'am.
Right?
Yeah.
Okay, so now what we'll do is, keeping this template, we will try to do another passage. Now this is your second task. It says TW1 practice set 2. It's around page. This is the one after the Chevalier's memo. Right? Here again, if you see, the structure of the passage given to you is introduction, right? First point and second point. And then there is a third point. Yeah. So first, second, third, 3 points given to you. So you have to first go through the introduction. So from the introduction, what do you get? What is the topic? So what is the first thing you do? Even before you start reading, what is the first thing you are supposed to do? You have to take down notes. Hmm? So on your rough paper, draw your columns. So here's the passage, here's the lecture. So what is the first thing? Main point. Then point number 1, point number 2, point number 3. This is what we need. Right? So while the directions are being given to you, you are already beginning your planning stage. Now coming to reading, now here they say you get 3 minutes to read this passage and take down your notes from the passage. Right? Now, why is it important to take down the notes from the passage? Can somebody tell me?
So that we connected with the lecture
Yeah.
and
First
when I
thing,
read
connect to the
essay.
lecture. And second thing, so that you can write your points in a concise manner when you are writing your essay. Because when you go back, the passage will appear. If you go back to the passage, what happens is you tend to just about copy down what is given or elaborate on the point raised in the passage, which is not required. So take down your notes so that you can summarize and make it concise. So you can paraphrase what has been said. Okay, now in this case, what is the main point? First, you write that down.
Do we have to write about the certification?
There are now you read the entire thing and then you can figure out what is actually required from the introduction. So first, now the main point is about eco-certification, right? Eco-certification of wood companies in the United States. And then there are two sides to it. Some of them have agreed, some of them do not agree. Yeah, world over, many wood companies have resorted to eco-friendly practices. However, it is unlikely that wood companies in the United States will do the same for several reasons. Right? So now you know what is this passage talking about. The reasons why the wood companies in United States will not go for eco-friendly certification. Right? Or international certification for so then you can get to the 3 points. So just write down your keywords. Yeah, you got your points? So what are the main points you got from the passage? What is the passage about? Yes, Vinayak, what is the passage about?
It's about the eco certification firstly, and then main overall the passage is about why companies in US would not consider doing that eco certification. Wood companies.
So United companies in United States will not want to go in for eco certification, and then you have point number 1, point number 2, point number 3. Yeah.
Yeah.
So what is point number 1?
Point number 1 is that American consumers exposed to ads and hence won't
So
value.
is it just exposed to ads? What are the main words, keywords? They're saying they are exposed to ads, but what is the key point in this first paragraph?
They don't place much trust in advertising.
Yeah, they don't trust advertising. That is the main point. Right? So if they don't trust advertising, then eco certification labels are of no value to them. Yeah, that is what this paragraph is trying to tell. Okay, so Garv, can you tell me what is the second paragraph about?
Like, ma'am, the second paragraph is about like if eco certified, the food would be more expensive, and like the Americans like get strongly motivated by the price. So like they would not choose the eco certified food. Instead, they would go for like cheaper uncertified foods because they are lower
So,
priced.
okay, that's okay. Now, how would you summarize this particular paragraph? Just getting to the main point, when if you're going to write, how would you summarize it?
Ma'am, eco certified wood will be more expensive, and the additional costs would get passed on to the consumers, and they tend to be strongly motivated by price, and they would likely choose like cheaper uncertified wood products as their costs grow.
Okay. That is also quite an expansion. So Varshini, can you try just summarizing this paragraph in one sentence?
The wood companies will prefer to keep their prices low rather than obtain eco certification, which will get passed on to the consumers later.
What will get passed on?
The cost, the additional
Cost.
cost, which is used to pay for the business which is used to pay for the certification agencies.
So what is the main point in this paragraph?
That they would rather keep their prices low and not obtain an eco certification certificate.
Yeah. So if you were to summarize all the points here, what would you do? Vinayak, you're thinking hard. Can you tell me? Summarize all the points here into one sentence to write down. So what are the key words over here? Eco certification is expensive.
Yeah.
Cost passed on to consumers. Consumers would go
Strongly
for
motivated by
the
price.
consumers will go for the lower priced goods. Yeah. So the wood companies will keep the price lower, right? When you say consumers tend to be strongly motivated by price, means they would prefer the cheaper products or the prices, the products where prices are lower. So to put it in a nutshell, the companies will not go for eco-certification because of the cost entailed, which if passed on to the consumers would raise the prices, while the American consumers would prefer lower price goods, right? That more or less brings in everything together. Maybe not perfectly, but still more or less. So when you are writing, you have to remember that all the keywords you write down, and those keywords you paraphrase, you string the keywords into a particular one sentence, one concise sentence, right? Okay, now coming to the third point. What is the key to the third point?
Ma'am, the American they sell most of their products in the United States rather than abroad. And then, yeah. So if they sell it abroad, eco certification might be required, while selling in the United States is not.
Yeah, because they sell only most of the products in the United States, so eco certification is not really required, right? So that is about a summary of each paragraph that we have over here, right? Okay, so now we will go on to listening to the lecture. Just track. Just a moment. I haven't shared. Let me know if you can hear clearly. Otherwise, I'll replay. Okay, were you able to get down the points from the lecture?
Weren't able to hear.
No, ma'am, it was not audible.
I thought you were searching for it.
Ah, it was not audible. Why didn't you tell me? I thought it was playing and you could hear it. Just a moment. Some problem. Just a second. Okay, share sound didn't happen. Just a moment.
Well, despite what many people say,
Okay, can you hear it now?
Yes,
Yeah?
ma'am, it's audible.
Okay.
there's good reason to think that many American wood companies will eventually seek eco certification for their wood products. First off, consumers in the United States don't treat all advertising the same. They distinguish between advertising claims that companies make about their own products and claims made by independent certification agencies. Americans have a lot of confidence in independent consumer agencies. Thus, ecologically minded Americans are likely to react very favorably to wood products ecologically certified by an independent organization with an international reputation for trustworthiness. Second point, of course it's true that American consumers care a lot about price. Who doesn't? But studies of how consumers make decisions show that price alone determines consumers' decisions only when the price of one competing product is much higher or lower than another. When the price difference between two products is small, say less than 5%, as is the case with certified wood, Americans often do choose on factors other than price, and Americans are becoming increasingly convinced of the value of preserving and protecting the environment. And third, U.S. wood companies should definitely pay attention to what's going on in the wood business internationally, not because of foreign consumers, but because of foreign competition. As I told you, there's a good chance that many American consumers will be interested in eco-certified products. And guess what? If American companies are slow on capturing those customers, you can be sure that foreign companies will start crowding into the American market, offering eco-certified wood that domestic companies don't.
Okay, so did you get your points? More or less it was, yeah, the points were corresponding
Yes,
to
ma'am.
those raised in the passage,
Yes, ma'am.
and each point was refuted. Okay, so corresponding to the first point, what did you get?
That the American consumers are confident in confidence in independent organizations, so they would react positively towards the wood companies that have eco certification.
Anything else? Anything else from the first point made in the lecture?
The ecological minded Americans would prefer the eco certification.
Right. So that would be a conclusion to the first sentence, first paragraph. Okay, now coming to the second point. This Varshini, what was the response to the second point?
They care about the price. Price defines the product. And then the difference between
Price defines the consumer decision.
yeah, ma'am, consumer decision. And the difference between two products is the cost difference between two products is generally less than 5%. And then they give value to preserving the environment.
Did you miss out on something?
I did, ma'am. I didn't get a point.
Okay.
I guess.
So yes, Vinay.
I guess he tried to say that the lecturer tried to say that they care about price only when there is difference, but there is a large difference between
Right.
Two
products.
similar, yeah.
Two similar products. If there's a large difference in price, then they would pay. And
Yeah.
in
eco-certificated companies, there is like price difference is less
than 5%.
5%. Yeah.
Yeah.
So they would.
So if it is less than 5%, then what would the consumers do? They would choose on the basis of other factors. Yeah. And there was a concluding statement in the lecture.
Preserving environment.
Yeah, the consumers value preserving environment. Right? So they will go for eco-certified products. Okay, now coming to the third point. Garv, can you give me the third point from the lecture?
Ma'am, in the third point, they said that they would have to be eco certified, or else like the foreign companies might take over them as like they are eco certified, and like people might tend to go for them as like they also care about nature.
The companies which are providing eco-certified products would be preferred over the American companies which are not providing eco-certified products.
Yes, ma'am.
Right?
Yeah.
And something more?
Ma'am, like the foreign companies like would take a chance in this and like would take over like the American companies.
And the American companies will have to
eventually like change
to eco-certification. Yeah. So these were the points from the passage and the lecture. Now coming to the question. Now all these directions will be given to you, that you have 20 minutes to plan, which reminds you that you don't have too much of time, but 20 minutes to be used very judiciously. Your response will be judged on the basis of quality of your writing and on how well your response presents the points in the lecture and relationship in regard to the passage. So remember, you have to be able to combine the two together. That's what they are reminding you to do. Okay, response time 20 minutes. Now coming to the question. Summarize the points made in the lecture, being sure to explain how they cast doubt on specific points made in the reading passage. Yeah, so they have told you that they cast doubt. So you know that now you know how you are going to organize your points. So this for this one also, the points have been given to you in tabular format. Right? Of course, you will be using your own points if you have written down, but to just help out, the tabular format has been given to you. So now what you can do is, you have written down a template, right? Try formulating your sentences using the template. Right? So what would your introduction be?
According to the passage,
Mm-hmm.
An international organization has
Okay, so now one thing, you have to get to the point. What is the main point?
eco-certification that is offered to wood companies, but US companies are doubted that they may not participate in that.
So now, putting the introduction in a nutshell, what would you say? Many, according to the passage, many wood companies have adopted to new ecologically friendly practices, but the wood companies in the United States are not ready to adapt to or adopt ecologically friendly practices or eco-certification. You can say that. Yeah. And then how does the lecturer come in?
However, the lecturer claims that
no, you have to, in the introduction itself, you have to give the relationship between the lecturer and the passage. So The question also gives it to you. The
lecturer
questions,
cast
however,
doubts.
raise doubts. Yeah. The lecturer, however, cast doubts on the points raised by the passage or by the author, you can say, in support of the
Eco-certification.
eco-certification. Right?
Yeah.
So this is your introduction. Now coming to your first body paragraph. Look at the template that you have written down.
First of all, the author provides the reason that American consumers are exposed to ads and
Would
they don't
trust what?
They don't. Yeah, they don't.
They do not trust advertising claims in general.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
they won't pay attention to the eco-certification label.
Yeah. So now combine all this into one concise sentence.
First of all, the author gives the reason that American consumers don't trust, do not place much trust in advertising claims.
Don't use the same words as in the passage. Paraphrase. Don't trust is more than enough instead of saying do
Don't
not
trust
place
in
trust.
advertising claims,
Yeah.
and hence won't pay attention to the eco-certification label.
Would not
value.
eco-certification. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Now coming to the point by the lecturer. Varshini?
This point.
Okay. This one. Okay. Vinayak, would you want to continue? Sorry, I interrupted. Okay. Yes, you can complete this particular point.
This point is challenged by the lecturer, right?
The lecturer challenges this point, and says that, stating that
most of the American consumers have confidence in the independent organization and hence would react positively towards the
independent what organization?
would
Consumer agencies.
consumer agencies.
Yeah.
And would react positively towards the eco-certification.
Look at your notes. What else have you written down?
Ecologically minded people. Yeah.
They would respond favorably to what?
Eco-certified wood companies.
Eco-certified products.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes.
And anything else to conclude?
Ecologically minded consumers would.
Consumers are becoming more ecologically minded and would prefer
buying
such products.
Yeah.
That's how you can end it. Okay, now coming to the second point. Varshini, how would you begin the second point?
Secondly, the passage talks about the secondly, the passage states that the eco certification is expensive, and the American companies have to get it paid by have to pay to the certification agency to get it.
See, either you say it is more expensive or you say it is paid, or you combine the two together in such a way that it doesn't end up in repetition.
Okay. So secondly, the passage states that eco-certified would be more expensive.
Eco-certified products would be expensive because of the cost entailed.
Okay.
Yeah. So the cost comes in, expensive comes in.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Next.
This additional cost gets passed on to the consumers. And American wood companies would rather prefer to keep their prices low then obtains eco certification.
Now that would amount to how many sentences?
3 to 2.
About 3 sentences?
Yeah.
Yeah. Now we don't want 3 sentences. Yeah. We want it to be concise.
Yeah.
So can you try to make it concise?
Okay. Secondly, the passage talks about the Secondly, the passage states that the eco certified eco certified products will be more expensive. This
Get in the cost.
eco certified wood will be more expensive, and then
As the cost would be cost entailed would be passed on to the consumers, while the American consumers would prefer the prices to be low.
Okay.
Yeah, you can say that.
Okay.
And would prefer cheaper uncertified wood products.
Okay.
Okay? So just that much. All the rest of the details are just repetitions we don't need.
Yeah, ma'am.
Yeah. So try to keep the point from the passage in 2 lines, not more than 2 lines. When you're typing out, it should come in 2 lines. So 2 short sentences, more or less, that would be enough, right? So instead of this entire thing, it would be just about 2.5 lines.
Yeah, ma'am.
Okay. So now coming to the point raised by the lecturer.
The lecturer states that American companies.
Lecturer states that. What did you write down in your template? Use your template.
While the lecturer points out that the American companies care about prices, and then the cost difference between 2 products, they don't care. No. 1 second, ma'am.
Frame your sentence a little, keeping the key points.
When the cost difference between 2 products is less than 5%, they would choose on the basis of. I'm not sure what they choose on the basis of.
Okay. So, Vinayak, can you help out?
Yeah.
The second point.
So the lecturer points out that.
Lecturer, on the other hand, you have to bring out the contrast.
Yeah. On the other hand, the lecturer points out that the consumer would care about the price only when the difference between the prices of the product are
Difference between
difference
in prices of 2 products.
Yeah, large difference between the price of 2 products, right?
Whereas
the price difference in the eco-certified products is almost less than 5%.
So
So
if it is less than 5%, what would the consumers do?
the consumer would prefer buying the eco-certified products.
Eco-certified products as, and then how would you conclude? Varshini, can you conclude? Conclude the particular paragraph, not this essay. So the particular paragraph.
Just a sentence.
Just a sentence.
When there is the large difference in price.
That is already done. Just the concluding sentence. What was the point raised by the value?
Eco certification.
Yeah. Value. The consumers prefer nowadays. Consumers value preserving environment.
Yeah.
Know the value of preserving environment and would prefer eco-certified products. Right. So remember, the lecturer has already given you the points. You just have to paraphrase and put them together in your essay. Right? Okay, so Garv, Are you there?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Can you summarize the third point from the passage?
Ma'am, for the third point, the author states that the American companies should keep up with the
Okay.
development.
1 minute. Can you speak without like?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. Try.
Ma'am, the author states that it always makes a good sense for the American companies to keep up with the development in with the rest of the world, but it's not case. But that is not the case, as American wood businesses sell most of their products in the United States, catering to a very large customer base that is satisfied with their merchandise.
Okay. Can
But
you one thing, girl, when you are now the passage will be in front of you when you are writing.
yes, ma'am.
So you have to avoid using the entire sentence or even the exact words from the passage.
Okay, ma'am.
Yeah. This
Yeah.
entire paragraph has to be concised into 2 lines.
Okay,
So
ma'am.
can you try doing that?
Yes,
You have to
ma'am.
just take the main points or the key words and formulate your own sentence. So what are the key words in this particular paragraph?
Like, ma'am, the rest of the world, then I think is good business sense and like
Yeah.
marketed their products
Why
abroad.
good business sense?
Like, ma'am, to keep up with the rest of the world development.
In what? So is that important or is the second part important? Pursue, that is, we are talking about pursuing both certification.
Yes.
Yeah. So is the first part of this paragraph very important to your essay?
No, ma'am. The second
No.
one.
The second part is more important, right?
Yes.
So we will avoid we can use a few keywords from there, but we will avoid the entire sentence as such.
Okay.
Okay. So how would you summarize again?
Like, ma'am, the author states that it would be good business sense for American companies to be on par with the rest of the world in pursuing certification. But they don't, as they do not market their products abroad. They mostly sell their products in America only. And the lecturer on the other hand states that if this continues, then the foreign companies might come and take over the American companies, as their wood would be certified and the difference would be very low.
So why would the consumers go with that?
Ma'am, it would be eco certified, so
The
it would be
company,
eco-friendly.
the consumers would prefer
Eco-friendly products.
eco-friendly woods.
Yeah.
So now you have to, now Garv, you have to try to paraphrase and make it concise. Yeah.
Okay.
Now if I see what you have said, it would go into a little more than 3 lines for the points raised in the passage.
Yes.
Yeah. The points raised in the passage have to be concise. Points raised in the lecture have to be elaborate.
Okay.
Okay. So more or less you got this. So Vinayak, would you want to try to formulate the paragraph for your essay for the third point? You can use your template.
Lastly,
Mhm.
the author states that the American wood business sells most of the product in the US and hence won't consider pursuing eco certification.
Right. So that's all that, yes, that is all that you really require from this paragraph from in the passage.
Okay.
Right? Okay. Yes, Vinayak, go on.
And the lecturer, on the other hand,
Say
it
we
will be
already used
repetitive.
on the other hand
Yeah.
in the previous paragraph. What other word would you use?
However,
The lecturer, can you use a stronger word? to show that lecturer doesn't agree. The lecturer rebuts this argument,
Rebuts means contradiction.
contradicts. Yeah.
Okay. The lecturer rebuts this argument, saying that the wood business should pay attention internationally for the competition that is increasing. And
Should
if
pay attention to the international competition.
yeah, international competition, or else the foreign companies would cater in the United States and take over the wood business. Yeah, something like that.
Business as the now come back to the consumers. Because the consumers would prefer
And hence the consumer
certified, eco-certified wood over the uncertified wood.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Which the other companies would be providing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So you've got your points. You can write this essay for homework. Right? So now you have these 2 essays to write for homework. Okay? So you,
two.
the previous one, which hasn't been written as yet, Chevalier's memo.
Yeah. Okay.
That and this, you can write and send it to me. Okay, now there is another one here. So if you move down to page, I think 75, yes, there's another one. It is practice set 5, TW3. Found it? So this also you can do, this way you will do independently. I will not help out with this. So this is your independent homework. The other 2 we have discussed, you have to, now first you do those, so you get a hang of how to write it. Then you go on to this particular task where you will be reading it, listening to the track and writing it. Yeah. The question here is summarize the main points made in the lecture, being sure to explain how they challenge the specific points made in the reading passage. Same method, same template you can use and do this. So you have to read what is it about, the first point, the second point, the third point. If there are 4 points, then 4 points according to what the passage is giving you. Then listen to the lecture, combine the points together, write your essay. Got it? Okay?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So now the templates you have to be very careful. Now I'll just go through the template of the independent task. So the independent writing task, developing the essay with strong points is very important. Yeah. So when you are doing the essay, the first introductory paragraph will be what? First sentence. There is the issue, main issue, rephrase the prompt. Right? Always first sentence, rephrase the prompt. And you can add a general background information to it. Right? So instead of just rephrasing the prompt plus a general information about the prompt. So these 2 together will make your first sentence. Yeah. Or you can break it down into 2 sentences, sentence 1, sentence 2. That will also do if you think it is becoming too complex. Then the second sentence will be your thesis statement, that is whether you agree or disagree. That is your opinion, a little, say 1 complete sentence on that. your opinion a little bit on why, or say, what is your opinion? Pick up the point from the prompt and put it into that this is my opinion. That is your second sentence. Yeah. If you can say why, add the points here, then fine. Otherwise, you just say for 2 reasons or 3 reasons, whatever you are going to write. Okay. So now to rephrase the given question, you can begin with like there's a great debate about, or there are two views about, say a particular topic is given to you, 2 views or there's a debate about, and then you state how many points you are going to discuss. This is important. Even if you don't say why, how many points is important. Yeah. Say I feel this way for 2 reasons, and or this is my opinion because of 2 reasons, right? Or I feel this way for 2 reasons, which I will explore in the following lesson. That sums up your first paragraph. That's the introduction. Now, in the independent essay, you should have 2 paragraphs dealing with 2 different points. Yeah. Now, when this we discussed the other day, but probably you haven't still got a hang of it, so I'm repeating. A transition sentence is required. Yeah. You can begin your, say, the first body paragraph with the first key point. You can say to begin with, or firstly. Got it? So what are the sentences that will come into your body paragraph? Yes, Vinayak?
As in the points.
How would you begin your body paragraph? First body paragraph. So to begin with, or firstly, then you raise the point.
Yeah.
So first thing you will do is the point itself. That is your first sentence. Second sentence, give a reason to it.
Yeah. And then the example.
And the third sentence, example. Fourth sentence, expand what? Explain
Example.
the point with the help of example. Here you gave your example, then you expand, explaining the point with the help of example, or you come with a second example. Yeah. Or example 2 if you want to expand further. This is the format of your body paragraph. Right? This has to be there. Now your reason and example will not come into your introduction. Yes, Varshini? Is that point clear now?
Yeah, ma'am.
Reason, example, not in your introduction. What will your introduction be? Varshini?
Yes, ma'am.
What will your introduction to the independent task be?
About what the topic is.
So paraphrase the given question.
Yeah.
If it is a preference question, I would prefer this over that. Or maybe if there is a choice between these things, or some people prefer this, some people prefer that, but I would prefer. So your second sentence would be I would prefer. Or you can also go into a generalized statement or a hook to begin with, but your opinion will never be in your first sentence. Yeah, your opinion or preference will always be in your second sentence. Remember that. Okay. Don't begin your essay straight away. In my opinion, right? Or I prefer. First sentence, always rephrase the prompt, give a general information, add something to it, then go on to your opinion. Okay. Then when you are coming to your body, your point, that's the point that you are raising, reason, explain, example to the point, expand with explanation. and give a small concluding sentence if you can. Not compulsory, but that gives a better expression, better impression to the exam, right? And variation in sentence structure is very important. So when you are coming to the second paragraph, you can go with secondly or furthermore. Yeah. Now suppose you have just uh, 2 points to write about and you're not able to expand. Then what do? What would you do? Try to go on to the other side and defend your point by contrasting the other side. Right? So that is the last resort, but yes, that helps when you want to expand. Okay? And then you go on to your conclusion. What would your conclusion be? You can say to sum up. Now don't say finally in conclusion. That would be repetition of words. Yeah, finally means in conclusion. So in conclusion, or to summarize, or to conclude, these two would be good ways of beginning your conclusion. So what do you do then? Then you more or less restate your thesis statement that you wrote in your introduction, and then just summarize the 2 points that you have made in the 2 paragraphs. Right? That's your conclusion. Keep to this structure to organize your essay properly. Right? So each paragraph, at least 4 to 5 sentences will be there. Because you have to write a minimum of 300 words over here. Correct? So this was just to remind you that how to go about writing. And if you have any doubts, go back to this particular essay sample and see how it is written down. Right? Go through it again. Look at the structure. See if the structure we were discussing, where does it fit in? This is your first sentence. Now the introduction. Some people believe that this is the restatement of the prompt. First sentence. Second sentence is what? A generalized statement. Then third sentence is opinion. Yeah. For 3 compelling reasons, because the student is writing about 3 reasons. Then first body paragraph, the first point. Yeah. Then example. Now when you are talking about examples, you can use different words. For example, for instance, in my say in my experience. Yeah. Then you expand, and then this is an explanation of the example. So this is how you are going to expand each body paragraph. So you can start writing at least 1 or 2 essays before you. So actually 3 to 4 essays should have been done before your mock test, but you can still do it, right? And I will be sharing some practice material. So if I have your, I'll just give you a TOEFL practice. So when you get to your
This part of the
exam,
test
this
will
is
measure your
something which
writing
you will
ability in
come
an
across.
academic environment. It will last around 60 minutes. You will write 2 responses. In the first task, which is called an integrated question, you will read a passage and then listen to a lecture. After that, you will answer a question based on what you read and heard. In the second task, which is called an independent question, you will answer a question based on your own knowledge and experience.
So this is
Writing
something
task 1,
which will come up.
integrated question. For this task, you will read a passage, and then hear a lecture about an academic topic. You will have 3 minutes to read the passage. You may take notes during the reading and the listening. The reading passage will be shown again during the time when you are supposed to write.
Can you see what is coming on the screen?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Can you hear what is being said?
Yes, ma'am.
So these instructions will be played to you. Now, when you are practicing, you know these instructions are there. You don't have to really go on to exactly listening to what the instructions are saying, but that is the time where you will start with your planning process. That is drawing out your tabular format to take down the notes. Yeah. So while this is being said, what you are doing is you are already drawing out your format, writing down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, so that when the passage actually begins, you can
But you will
take down
listen
your
to the
notes.
lecture only once. You will have 20 minutes to write your response. Effective responses are usually between 150 to 225 words. You have 3 minutes to read. Start reading now.
Okay, so that's how it will come up. The passage will come, you will get 3 minutes and your timer will be on. Yeah. So if you are in doubt that, okay, am I taking too long or not, you can see your timer. So once this passage is done, I'll just take it forward from here.
Accounted for the majority of the rise. Any room for doubt?
Now listen to the lecture.
Current scientific research regarding sea level rise.
So this is how it will come up. They will tell you now listen to the lecture, means you are taking down points from the lecture. Yeah. Now when the lecture is over, there will be instructions again.
Frozen in place for the to adjust to sea level rise. We can unequivocally state this is not the case. We don't have time, not if we want to avoid a dramatic shift in our world. Most of our economy and population is located on or close to the sea, and it is predicted that we will lose 20% of the landmass where human activity takes place. We need to act. Lose 20% of the landmass where human activity takes place. We need to act now.
So that after the lecture is
Summarize
over,
the points made in the lecture,
your
being
question
sure
comes
to
up.
explain how they cast doubt on specific points made in the reading passage. You have 20 minutes to write. Start writing now.
Okay, now they will earmark the section where you will write. Yeah, and this is what you will appear on your screen. The passage on one side, the directions and questions on the other side, and here is where you will start writing. So now when in the practice videos, you will be, and even in the mock test, you will be writing in a Word file and submitting it or sending it to me when you are practicing. So this is what it will look like. And your timer will again be there. So while you are planning, you have your eye on the timer. And when you are writing also, it is very important that you finish before the timer goes off. Because you will not be able to write after those 20 minutes. Correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And for then after you have finished writing, see the timer goes on like this with seconds. Then after the integrated task, the independent task will come up.
For this task,
So as soon as it reaches 20 minutes, you will not
writing
be
task
able to
2,
write anymore.
independent question. For this task, you will write an essay in response to a question that asks you to state, explain, and support your opinion on a topic or issue. Your essay will be scored based on the quality of your writing. This includes how you develop and organize ideas, and how you use the language to express those ideas. You will have 30 minutes to write your response. Effective responses are usually at least 300 words.
So your topic
Do you
comes up.
agree or disagree with the following statement? The increase in automation will lead to people losing their jobs. You have 30 minutes to write. Start writing now.
So when they after they say start writing now, again your timer starts. And this timer will go on to 30 minutes and you will not be able to write a single word after that. Okay? So this is your format for your writing section, which you have to keep in mind. Okay?
In the passage, we have to either disagree or agree, right?
In the which passage? In the independent
Sorry, in the
one.
writing, yeah.
Yeah, you have to choose any one side.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
This we had discussed earlier also. So you have to choose any one side and start your and formulate your essay. So that is where your practice comes in. The whole lot of topics have already been given to you. So you can practice so that by the time you are in the exam, you know exactly how much you can write, what is the form, what templates you are going to be using, and how to improve on your writing. Okay. Similarly, I will be sharing the speaking task also. There also you'll have the timer going on. So speaking task will come up something like that, and you will not get any
It
time
will
in the
last
middle.
around 20 to 30 minutes. You will answer 4 questions. The first question will be about a familiar topic. The other this part of the test will measure your speaking ability. It will last around 20 to 30 minute lectures and reading passages. You can read and hear the lectures and paragraphs only once. You will see the time available for preparing the responses as well as the time to give your response on the bottom side of the screen. You have to stay within those time limits. Speaking Task 1. You will be asked a question about a familiar topic. You will then have 15 seconds to prepare your response, and 45 seconds to speak. Some people enjoy spending their holidays on the beach, while others go to the mountains and the nature parks.
I
Which
can
do you
see
prefer
the
and why?
video
Include
screen.
examples and details in your
Yes, Vinaya?
Video screen is not visible.
Yes. You can't hear it?
I can hear it, but video can't be
Okay,
seen.
it can't be seen. Can you see it now?
Yes.
So is the video screen visible to everybody?
Yes, ma'am.
So this is how your speaking section will come. The instructions, the question, then preparation time 15 seconds, response 45 seconds will come in. Then,
Explanation. Prepare your response after the beep.
so that will be the cue to start preparing. Yeah. Now you get just 15 seconds here. After the 15 seconds,
Beep. Start speaking after the beep.
yeah. So once the 15 seconds is over, there will be another instruction to tell you to start speaking after the beep. So you will not start speaking even if you have finished preparing before the beep goes. And the timer will be there, you know how many seconds are going on, and you will not be recorded after 45 seconds in the first task, right?
Speaking task 2.
And then in the same way,
You will read a short
each of
paragraph and
the
then listen to a conversation between two people.
so each of the other tasks will appear, directions will be given to you. Now you know what each task is about, right? So you will start preparing your planning, uh, preparing your sheet for planning even before the question comes up. So you have already saved about a few seconds. Instead of waiting for the question and then drawing your columns and then putting down your points, you're already prepared. You just have to fill in your points. Got it? So this is what your actual test will look like. Okay?
Okay, ma'am.
So you will be practicing now. So do you think we need another session on Tuesday? Or you are good with what we've done till now?
I think we can practice now.
Yeah, I think we can
Yeah.
practice now because there's not, we now only, we will require session only after you have practiced and have doubts, or you have done your mock test and have doubts. Okay?
Okay, ma'am.
So go on, practice, send me. Yes, Varshini.
Mom, when will the mock test come up?
Mock test will be starting next week. Now it is up to you when you want to take them.
Mom, will it be uploaded in the UT website?
Yes, it should be.
All right.
If it is not, then you can just contact, I think, you can contact Surjit ma'am.
Okay, Mom.
She'll provide you with the details.
Mom, and also about the speaking task.
Hmm.
Right after the 15 seconds gets completed,
Hmm.
will the timer start for the speaking, or do we have like extra seconds?
No, you don't have any extra seconds. You have a few extra seconds till the time they tell you that now start speaking after the beep. Only that much time you have.
Oh, okay, Mom.
Yeah. So you have to be mentally prepared. Okay, the beep, I have to start speaking.
Yeah, Mom.
Yeah. First beep is for preparation. Second beep is for speaking. And you have to keep an eye on the timer. As soon as the timer goes off, means nothing else is getting recorded.
Okay, Mom.
So I will put up the link to this practice practice videos in. I'll put it on the website itself. On the group. Yeah. So you can download, save it, and practice. Okay. So
Okay, ma'am.
and in case you have any difficulty in the middle, you can always WhatsApp me. We'll get in touch and discuss. Right?
Okay, ma'am.
Okay then. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, ma'am. Good night.
Thank you. Good night.